Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship, staring at the screen in front of him. Something was out there in the darkness of space. A small signal blinked on and off, calling for help. His ship, the Horizon's Edge, had picked it up just minutes ago. "Captain, should we check it out?" asked Lisa Carter from her station. She was the ship's engineer and one of Jake's most trusted crew members. Jake rubbed his chin. They were not supposed to stop for unknown signals. The rules said to report it and move on. But something told him this was different. Someone needed help. "Change course," Jake said. "Let's see what we find." The pilot, Chris Bennett, nodded and turned the ship toward the signal. It took them 20 minutes to reach it. What they found made everyone on the bridge go quiet. A small ship floated in space, broken and dark. Parts of it were burned black. Holes covered its surface. It looked like it had been in a terrible fight. "Life signs?" Jake asked. Ben Hughes, the medical officer, checked his equipment. "2, both very weak. One is getting weaker fast." Jake did not wait. "Lisa, Chris, come with me. Ben, get the medical bay ready. We are bringing them aboard." They put on their spacesuits and went out to the damaged ship. Getting inside was hard. The door was stuck. Lisa had to use her tools to cut through. When they finally got in, the air that rushed out was thin and cold. Inside they found them. An alien woman lay on the floor, her silver skin covered in dark blue blood. She was big, maybe 7 feet tall, with long arms and legs. Her breathing was shallow. Next to her, pressed against the wall, was a small child. The child looked terrified, her big golden eyes wide with fear. Jake moved slowly, not wanting to scare the child more. He knelt down next to the woman. She opened her eyes and looked at him. Her hand reached up and grabbed his suit. A small device on her belt started making sounds. After a moment, Jake heard words in English. The translation was rough but clear enough. "Please," the woman said, her voice weak. "Save her. They killed everyone. They will kill her too. Please." "We will help both of you," Jake said. The woman shook her head. "No time for me. Promise me. Protect the child. She is important, promise." Jake looked into the dying woman's eyes. He saw fear there, but also hope. "I promise." The woman turned her head to the child. "Lyra," she said in her own language. Then she spoke more words that the device did not translate. The child started crying, a sound that was almost human, but not quite. The woman's hand fell from Jake's suit. Her eyes closed. Ben, who had joined them, checked her. He shook his head. She was gone. Jake turned to the child, Lyra. She was shaking now, crying harder. He did not know what to do. He had never been good with children, even human ones. But he had made a promise. Slowly, carefully, he reached out his hand. Lyra looked at it, then at his face through his helmet. For a long moment she did not move. Then suddenly she threw herself at him, wrapping her small arms around his suit and holding on tight. They brought her back to the ship. In the medical bay, Ben checked her over. She was not hurt badly, just some small cuts and bruises, but she would not let go of Jake. Every time he tried to leave, she would grab onto him and make a sound like a scared animal. "She has been through something terrible," Ben said quietly. "She watched her protector die. You are all she has now." Jake sat down on the medical bed with Lyra still holding on to him. She was so small, so scared. What had happened to her? Who had attacked their ship? And why did the dying woman say the child was important? Lisa came into the medical bay with some food and water. Lyra would not take it at first. But when Jake took a drink of water, she copied him. Then she ate a little food. It was a start. That night, Jake tried to put Lyra in her own bed in one of the spare rooms. But she would not stay. She cried and reached for him. Finally, he gave up and let her sleep in a chair in his quarters. He watched her all night. This strange alien child who had crashed into his life. The next morning, Jake called a meeting with his senior crew. Lisa, Ben, Chris, and the others gathered in the conference room. Lyra sat on Jake's lap, still not willing to leave him. "We need to figure out who she is," Jake said, "and why someone wanted her dead." Amy Foster, the ship's botanist, spoke up. "I found something when I searched our database. The design of that ship matches vessels from the Zephany Empire. They are a powerful alien race about 500 light-years from here." "Should we contact them?" Chris asked. Jake thought about the dying woman's words. "They killed everyone. They will kill her too." "Not yet," he said. "Not until we know more. Someone attacked that ship. Until we know who and why, we keep Lyra safe here." "That could be dangerous," Lisa said. If she is important, people will look for her. Then we make sure they do not find her, Jake replied. Over the next few days, they searched the remains of the broken ship. They found bodies of other warriors, all dead. They found royal symbols and documents written in the Zephany language. Amy worked on translating them. What they learned was shocking. Lyra was not just any child. She was a princess, the daughter of Queen Vela, ruler of the Zephany Empire. Someone had attacked the royal family. Most of them were dead. The warrior who had protected Lyra had tried to escape with her but had failed. If she is a princess, we really should contact her people, Ben said. But Jake remembered the fear in the dying warrior's eyes. Someone in the Empire did this, he said. We cannot trust them yet. Not until we know who is safe and who is not. Lyra started to adjust to life on the ship. She followed Jake everywhere. When he went to the bridge, she came with him. When he ate, she ate. When he slept, she slept nearby. The crew started to get used to having her around. Lisa showed Lyra the engine room. The little alien's eyes went wide at all the machines. Chris let her sit in the pilot's seat and pretend to fly the ship. Amy took her to the hydroponics bay, where plants grew under bright lights. Lyra seemed to love the plants. But it was Jake she always came back to. She would grab his hand when she was scared. She would sit next to him when she was tired. And at night she would curl up near him to sleep. 3 weeks after they found her, something changed. Lyra started trying to speak. She had been silent except for cries and small sounds, but now she tried to copy the words she heard. "Yeah," she said one day, pointing at Jake. "Jake," he said slowly. "Jake." "Jake," Lyra repeated, and smiled for the first time since they found her. From that day on, she learned fast. Within a few more weeks, she could say simple words. She learned the names of all the crew. She learned words for food and water and sleep. And then one day she said something that made Jake's heart stop. She was sitting with him in his quarters looking at pictures of Earth on his tablet. She pointed at a picture of a father holding his child. "Father," she said in English. Then she pointed at Jake. "Father." Jake did not know what to say. He was not her father. He was just a ship captain who had found her. But when he looked at Lyra's face, at the trust and love in her golden eyes, he could not say no. "Yes," he said quietly. "I will be your father." Lyra smiled and hugged him. And Jake knew in that moment that his life had changed forever. He had promised a dying warrior to protect this child, but it had become more than that. Somewhere along the way, this little alien girl had become his daughter, and he would do anything to keep her safe. 6 months had passed since Jake found Lyra. The scared little girl who had clung to him was now a happy child who ran through the ship's corridors with energy and curiosity. She had learned English well, and could have full conversations with the crew. But the word she used most was father when she talked to Jake. Every morning, Lyra would wake up and run to find Jake. If he was on the bridge, she would climb into the chair next to him and watch the stars. If he was in his office doing paperwork, she would sit on the floor with her own tablet pretending to work too. The crew loved her, and she loved them back. "Good morning, Father," Lyra said one morning, bouncing into the dining hall where Jake was having coffee. "Good morning, Lyra," Jake said with a smile. "Did you sleep well?" "Yes, I had a dream about the garden. Amy said I can help plant new seeds today." Lyra's golden eyes sparkled with excitement. The hydroponics bay had become Lyra's favorite place on the ship. Amy Foster had taught her about plants, how they grew, how they needed water and light. Lyra had gentle hands and patience. The plants seemed to respond to her care. After breakfast, Jake walked with Lyra to the hydroponics bay. Amy was already there setting up trays of soil. "Ready to work?" Amy asked with a smile. Lyra nodded eagerly. Jake watched for a few minutes as Amy showed Lyra how to plant tiny seeds. The little alien's silver fingers worked carefully, placing each seed just right. She was so focused, so careful. It made Jake's heart warm to see her so happy. He left them to their work and went back to the bridge. But his mind was not on his duties. It was on the problem he had been avoiding for months. He had to figure out what happened to Lyra's family. He had to know if it was safe to contact the Zephany Empire. Lisa was at her station when Jake arrived. "I have been working on that project you asked about," she said quietly so the others would not hear. "And?" Jake asked. "It is not good. I found communication records from Zephany space. There was a coup attempt. Someone tried to kill the royal family. Most of the records say everyone died, including the Queen and her daughter. But the Queen might still be alive? Jake asked. Lisa nodded. Some reports are unclear. There are rumors that Queen Vela survived but was badly hurt. Other reports say she died. It is hard to know what is true. Jake looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there was Lyra's mother, maybe alive, maybe dead. And somewhere out there were people who had tried to kill a child. Keep digging, Jake said, but be careful. If anyone finds out we are asking questions, they might figure out we have Lyra. That evening, Jake started teaching Lyra something new, self-defense. He knew she was just a child, but she needed to know how to protect herself. In the ship's small gym, he showed her basic moves. The key is not to be strong, Jake said. The key is to be smart. If someone grabs you, what do? Lyra thought for a moment. Run? Good. Running is always the best choice. But what if you cannot run? Jake showed her how to twist away from someone's grip, how to use her small size to move fast, how to yell for help. Lyra practiced with serious focus. She understood that this was important. Why do I need to learn this, Father? Lyra asked after practice. Jake knelt down to her level. Because the world can be dangerous sometimes, and I want you to be able to keep yourself safe. Will you always be there to protect me? Lyra asked, her voice small. Jake pulled her into a hug. I will always do everything I can to protect you, but I also want you to be strong and smart on your own. Lyra hugged him back tight. I will try to be strong like you. Days turned into weeks. Lyra grew more confident. She helped Amy in the garden every day. She learned to play games with Chris, who taught her a card game from Earth. She listened to Nina Ross play music on her guitar and tried to sing along. The crew was her family now, but Jake's investigation was uncovering dark truths. He learned that a group of powerful leaders in the Zephani government had planned the attack on the royal family. They wanted to put their own puppet leader on the throne. They thought they had killed everyone. They did not know Lyra had escaped. If they find out she is alive, they will come for her, Ben said when Jake shared what he had learned. Then we make sure they do not find out, Jake replied. But keeping Lyra hidden was becoming harder. The Horizon's Edge had to stop at stations for supplies. They had to communicate with other ships. Every contact was a risk that someone might see Lyra or ask questions. Jake started thinking about a new plan. There was a remote human colony called Haven's Rest on the edge of explored space. It was small, quiet, and far from Zephani territory. Maybe he could retire there, take Lyra, and live a simple life where she would be safe. He had not told anyone about this idea yet, but it was always in his mind. Then one day everything changed. Pirates attacked the ship. They came out of nowhere. 3 small, fast ships surrounding the Horizon's Edge. The leader of the pirates sent a message demanding that Jake hand over all his cargo, or they would destroy the ship. Jake tried to negotiate, but the pirates were not interested in talking. They fired on the ship. The shields held, but barely. The Horizon's Edge was not a warship. It could not fight back well. Lisa, can you get more power to the shields? Jake shouted over the sound of alarms. I am trying, but they are overloading, Lisa shouted back from the engine room. The pirates docked with the ship. They cut through the airlock and stormed aboard. Jake ordered the crew to hide in secure areas. He grabbed a weapon and went to face the pirates, but there were too many of them. They forced Jake and Chris to their knees in the cargo bay. The pirate leader, a big man with scars across his face, walked up to them. Where is your cargo? He demanded. There is no cargo, Jake said. We are an exploration ship. The pirate hit Jake across the face. Do not lie to me. Before anyone could react, alarms started blaring throughout the ship. The pirates looked confused. The lights flickered and went out. Emergency lights came on, bathing everything in red. What is happening? The pirate leader yelled. From the darkness, a small voice spoke. Let my father go. Lyra stepped out from behind some crates. Jake's heart stopped. No, she was supposed to be hiding in his quarters. The pirates stared at the alien child. What is that? One of them asked. That is a Zephani, the pirate leader said slowly. And Zephani children are worth a lot of money to the right people. He moved toward Lyra, but she did not run. Instead, she pressed something on a panel next to her. Suddenly, doors slammed shut, trapping half the pirates in different sections of the ship. Lyra, run! Jake shouted. But Lyra was not running. She was working the panel like she had seen Lisa do 100 times. She locked doors, she shut down systems, she caused chaos. The pirates who were not trapped tried to chase her, but she was small and fast. She crawled through vents and ran through corridors they could not follow. Lisa's voice came over the ship's communication system. "I am back online. Jake, I have control of the ship again." What Lyra had done was buy them time. She had caused enough confusion for Lisa to get back to the engine room and reboot the systems. Now the crew had the advantage. Jake and Chris fought back against the pirates who were still in the cargo bay. Other crew members came out of hiding. The pirates, realizing they were trapped and outnumbered, tried to surrender, but their ships were still attacking from outside. "Lisa, can you fire the defense weapons?" Jake asked. "Already on it," Lisa replied. The Horizon's Edge had small weapons for protection. They were not strong, but they were enough. Lisa targeted the pirate ship's engines. One by one, she disabled them. The fight was over in minutes. The pirates surrendered. Jake locked them in the cargo bay and sent a message to the nearest patrol asking them to come pick up the prisoners. Then he went to find Lyra. She was in a small maintenance room, shaking and crying. Jake picked her up and held her close. "You were so brave," he said. "But you scared me so much. You were supposed to stay hidden." "They hurt you," Lyra said through her tears. "I could not let them hurt you. You are my father." Jake's eyes filled with tears too. This little girl, this alien child, had risked her life to save him. She had been smart and brave. She had used everything she had learned from watching the crew to fight back. "I am so proud of you," Jake whispered. "But please never scare me like that again." That night, after the patrol had taken the pirates away and the crew had repaired the damage, Jake sat with Lyra in his quarters. She was calmer now, but still held on to his hand. "Father, will the bad people always come?" she asked. Jake wished he could say no, but he had to be honest. Some people will always choose to do bad things, but good people will always fight to stop them. That is why we have to stay strong and smart. "Will you teach me more?" Lyra asked. "About fighting and being smart?" "Yes," Jake promised. "I will teach you everything I can." As Lyra fell asleep that night, Jake made a decision. He could not run to Haven's Rest. He could not hide Lyra away from the world. She deserved to know who she was, where she came from, and to have the chance to reclaim her heritage if she wanted it. But first he had to make sure it was safe. He had to find out if her mother was alive, and he had to be ready to face whatever came next because he knew now that Lyra was not just a scared child anymore. She was brave, she was smart, and she was his daughter in every way that mattered. Queen Vela opened her eyes for the first time in 3 months. The medical facility around her was quiet and dark. Her body hurt everywhere. She tried to remember what had happened. The attack, the explosions, her family, her daughter. "Lyra," she whispered, her voice rough from not being used. A figure moved in the shadows. General Theron, her most loyal commander, stepped into the light. His silver face showed relief. "My queen, you are awake. Thank the stars." Vela tried to sit up, but pain shot through her body. "My daughter." "Where is Lyra?" The general's face fell. "My queen, the royal ship was destroyed. We found debris, but no survivors. The princess, we believe she did not survive." "No." Vila's voice was sharp despite her weakness. "I would know if my child was dead. I would feel it, find her, search every piece of wreckage, check every ship that was in that sector, find my daughter." General Theron bowed. "Yes, my queen. I will begin immediately." Over the following weeks, as Queen Vela slowly healed from her terrible injuries, General Theron launched the biggest search operation the Zephany Empire had ever seen. Ships spread out across space, checking every station, every planet, every piece of debris they could find. They found the wreckage of the escape ship. They found the bodies of warriors who had died protecting the royal family. But they did not find Lyra's body. To Vela, this meant one thing. Her daughter was alive somewhere. The distress beacon from the escape ship was active for 17 minutes before it shut off. General Theron reported to Vela one day. "Someone could have found it in that time." "Then find out who was in that area," Vela ordered. "Check every ship's flight path." "Someone saved my daughter. Find them." The search continued. Vela grew stronger each day, driven by the need to find Lyra. She learned about the conspiracy that had killed her family. Several powerful leaders in her government had wanted to take control. They had been arrested, but Vela knew there were still traitors hiding in her empire. If Lyra is alive, the conspirators will search for her too. Vela said to Theron. We must find her first. Meanwhile, Jake was receiving troubling news. His contacts were reporting increased Zephany activity in the sector where he had found Lyra. Search ships were everywhere, asking questions, checking records. They know she might be alive, Lisa said. It is only a matter of time before they trace her to us. Jake called a meeting with his senior crew. They gathered in the conference room while Lyra was sleeping. Everyone looked worried. We need to make a decision, Jake said. The Zephany are searching for Lyra. Our ship was in the area where she was found. Eventually, someone will connect the dots. We could run, Chris suggested. Head to Haven's Rest like you planned, disappear. And spend the rest of our lives hiding? Ben asked. Lyra deserves better than that. She deserves to know who she is. She deserves to meet her mother if she is alive. But we do not know if her mother is alive, Amy said. And we know for sure that people in the Zephany government want Lyra dead. Jake rubbed his face tiredly. I have been researching Queen Vela. By all accounts, she is a good leader, fair and just. If she is alive, Lyra would be safe with her. If, Lisa said. That is a big if. There is something else, Jake said. The conspirators who attacked the royal family are still out there. Some have been caught, but not all. They have informants everywhere. If we run, they will find us eventually. But if we contact Queen Vela directly, if she is alive, she can protect Lyra better than we ever could. The room went quiet. Everyone knew Jake was right, but no one wanted to say it out loud. If they contacted the Zephany Empire, they would lose Lyra. What does Lyra want? Nina asked quietly. Jake sighed. She's 8 years old. She does not understand all of this. She just wants to be safe and happy. Then we protect her, Ben said firmly. However, we have to do it. Before they could decide anything, alarms started blaring. Chris ran to the bridge with Jake right behind him. On the screen, they saw 5 Zephany warships dropping out of faster-than-light travel around them. They found us, Chris said. A message came through. The face on the screen was a tall Zephany with military markings, General Theron. Human vessel Horizon's Edge, this is General Theron of the Zephany Imperial Fleet. We have reports that you may have information about a missing child. You will allow us to board and search your ship. Jake's mind raced. He could refuse and try to run, but 5 warships would destroy them easily. He could let them search and try to hide Lyra, but she would be found. Or he could tell the truth. This is Captain Jake Morrison. Before I allow anyone to board, I need to speak with Queen Vela directly. There was a pause. The Queen does not speak with random human captains. Then you will not board my ship, Jake said firmly. I will only speak with the Queen. Another pause, longer this time. Then the screen changed. A new face appeared. A female Zephany, tall and regal despite the medical equipment visible behind her. Her golden eyes were sharp and intense. Queen Viola. Captain Morrison, the Queen said, her voice controlled, but Jake could hear the emotion underneath. Do you have information about my daughter? Jake took a deep breath. Your Majesty, I need your word that you will hear everything I have to say before making any decisions. You dare to make demands of me? Viola's voice rose. I'm trying to protect a child, Jake said. A child who has been through terrible things. I need to know that you care about what is best for her, not just what you want. Viola stared at him through the screen. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then she said, You have my word. I will listen. Now tell me about my daughter. Jake told her everything. How they found the damaged ship. How Lyra's protector had died begging him to save her. How Lyra had been traumatized and scared. How she had slowly healed over the months. How she had become part of his crew, his family. Viola listened without interrupting, but Jake could see her hands gripping the arms of her chair tighter and tighter. When he finished, tears were running down her silver face. My daughter is alive, she whispered. My Lyra is alive. Yes, Jake said. But there is something you need to know. She has been with me for almost 9 months. She has bonded with me and my crew. She calls me father. If you want to see her, I need to know that you will not just take her away without thinking about what she needs. Vela's expression hardened. She is my daughter. She is a princess of the Zephany Empire. She belongs with her people. She is a child who has lost everything, Jake said firmly. She needs to be treated with care, not just taken away from the only family she knows now. How dare you tell me how to treat my own child, Viola said, her voice cold with anger. Because right now I am the one she trusts, Jake replied. I am the one she feels safe with, and I will not let anyone hurt her, even if that someone is her own mother. The tension was so thick it felt like it could be cut with a knife. Viola and Jake stared at each other through the screen, neither backing down. Finally, Viola spoke. I will come to your ship alone except for General Theron. You will allow us to board. We will discuss this face to face. Agreed, Jake said. But Lyra is asleep right now. I will not wake her until we have talked first. Acceptable, Viola said, though her voice showed how much she hated waiting even another minute to see her daughter. The connection ended. Jake slumped in his chair. Lisa put a hand on his shoulder. That went better than I expected, she said. Or worse, Jake replied. She is angry. She thinks I am trying to keep her daughter from her. Are you not? Chris asked carefully. Jake shook his head. I am trying to protect Lyra. That means making sure whoever takes care of her does it right, even if that person is her mother. An hour later, a shuttle from the Zafani fleet docked with the Horizon's Edge. Jake waited at the airlock with Ben and Lisa. He had ordered the rest of the crew to stay in other areas of the ship. He did not want to overwhelm the Queen. The airlock opened. General Theron stepped through first, his hand on his weapon. Then came Queen Vela. She was even more impressive in person. 7 feet tall, with silver skin that seemed to glow slightly in the light. She wore simple clothes, not royal robes, but she radiated authority. Her golden eyes swept the corridor, taking in everything. Those eyes landed on Jake. They were filled with anger, grief, and desperate hope all at once. Where is my daughter? She asked. Follow me, Jake said. We need to talk first. He led them to the conference room. Viola sat down stiffly, clearly not happy about being made to wait. General Theron stood behind her, watching Jake carefully. Your Majesty, Jake began. I know you want to see Lyra immediately, but I need you to understand something first. She has been through trauma. She watched people she loved die. She was terrified and alone. It took months for her to start healing. If you go in there and try to take her away from everything she knows now, you could hurt her all over again. Viola's hands clenched into fists. I would never hurt my daughter. Not on purpose, Jake said gently, but she does not remember you well. She was so young when she was taken. She knows she had a mother, but in her heart her family is here now, on this ship, with me. I am her mother, Vela said, her voice shaking. I carried her. I raised her for 6 years. I almost died protecting her. She is mine. She is her own person, Jake said, and she needs both of us to think about what is best for her, not what we want. Viola stood up suddenly, her chair scraping back. I have waited months thinking my daughter was dead. I have suffered through pain and loss, and now you tell me I must wait more, that I must ask permission to see my own child. Jake stood too, meeting her eyes. I am asking you to be patient, to let me wake her gently and prepare her, to meet her with love, not desperation. Can you do that? Viola stared at him. Her whole body was shaking with emotion. General Theron stepped forward, clearly worried she might attack Jake. But instead, Viola's shoulders slumped. She sat back down, suddenly looking exhausted. Yes, she whispered. I can do that. Please just let me see her. Jake nodded. Wait here. I will bring her. He left the conference room and walked to his quarters. His heart was pounding. This was it. The moment that would change everything. He opened the door quietly. Lyra was asleep in her bed, curled up with a stuffed animal Amy had given her. Jake sat on the edge of the bed and gently touched her shoulder. Lyra, wake up. She stirred and opened her golden eyes. Father, is it morning? Not yet, Jake said softly. But something important is happening. Someone is here to see you. Who? Lyra asked, sitting up. Jake took her hand. Your mother. She is alive, Lyra. Your mother is here. Lyra's eyes went wide. For a moment she did not move. Then she whispered, My mother is alive? Yes, she has been searching for you. She wants to see you. Tears filled Lyra's eyes. Will she take me away from you? Jake's heart broke at the fear in her voice. I do not know what will happen, but I promise whatever happens, I will always be here for you. You will always be my daughter. Lyra hugged him tight. I am scared. I know, Jake said. But it will be okay. I will be with you. Come on. He stood up, holding her hand. Together, they walked through the ship to the conference room. With each step, Jake felt like he was walking toward the end of something. But he kept his face calm for Lyra's sake. They reached the door. Jake looked down at Lyra. "Ready?" She squeezed his hand. "Ready?" Jake opened the door. Queen Vela stood up from her chair. For a moment, mother and daughter just looked at each other. Then Vela's face crumpled and she dropped to her knees. "Lyra," she said, her voice broken with emotion. "My little star." Lyra stared at her mother, recognition and confusion mixing on her face. She remembered something, Jake could see it. But it was like a dream from long ago. Then Lyra ran forward, not to her mother, but away from the room. Jake caught her before she could run far. "It is okay," he said, holding her. "You are safe." Lyra was crying now, confused and overwhelmed. Behind them, Jake heard a sound. He turned to see Queen Vela on her knees, tears streaming down her face, reaching toward her daughter who did not come to her. And in that moment, Jake knew this was going to be harder than any of them had thought. Jake held Lyra close as she cried into his shirt. Behind him, he could hear Queen Vela making a sound like her heart was breaking. General Theron stood frozen, not knowing what to do. "Lyra," Jake said gently, "your mother has been looking for you for a long time. She thought you were dead. She wants to see you. Why did she not come before?" Lyra asked through her tears. "Why did everyone die?" The question hit Jake hard. He looked back at Vela, who had heard it too. "The Queen's face showed pain and guilt. May I answer that?" Vela asked, her voice careful and controlled now. Jake looked down at Lyra. "Do you want to hear?" Lyra nodded slowly, but she did not let go of Jake's hand. Together, they walked back into the conference room. Jake sat down with Lyra on his lap. Vela sat across from them, her hands clasped together so tight her knuckles had turned a darker shade of silver. "Lyra," Vela began, and her voice trembled. "Bad people attacked our family. They wanted to take control of our empire. I tried to protect everyone, but I failed. You and the warriors escaped, and I thought you had reached safety. Then I was hurt very badly. I was asleep in a medical facility for 3 months. When I woke up, I began searching for you immediately. Every day since then, I have been looking for you." Lyra listened, her golden eyes wide. "You were hurt?" "Yes," Vela said. "But I am better now. And I am here. Did you miss me?" Lyra asked, her voice small. Vela's control broke. Tears streamed down her face again. "Every single moment of every single day. You are my daughter. You are my heart. I have missed you more than words can say." Lyra was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "I missed having a mother. But I had father. He saved me. He took care of me." Vela's eyes moved to Jake. In them he saw gratitude mixed with something else. Jealousy maybe, or anger. It was hard to tell. "I am grateful to Captain Morrison," Vela said, though her voice was stiff. "He protected you when I could not." "He did more than that," Lyra said, sitting up straighter. "He taught me things. He reads me stories. He lets me help in the garden. He is my father now." The words hung in the air like a weapon. Jake saw Vela's whole body go rigid. Her hands gripped the arms of her chair. When she spoke, her voice was very quiet and very dangerous. "Captain Morrison, I would like to speak with you alone." Jake looked at Lyra. "Can you go with General Theron for a few minutes? He will keep you safe." Lyra looked uncertain, but she nodded. General Theron, who seemed relieved to have something to do, offered his hand. Lyra took it and they left the room. The moment the door closed, Vela stood up. She was trembling with barely controlled emotion. "She calls you father," Vela said, her voice shaking. "My daughter, the princess of the Zephani Empire, calls a human father." Jake stood up too, not backing down. "Yes, she does. Because I have been her father for 9 months. I have held her when she had nightmares. I have fed her when she was hungry. I have taught her when she wanted to learn. I have been there." "You had no right," Vela said, her voice rising. "She is not yours. She is mine. You should have contacted my people immediately." "Your people tried to kill her," Jake shot back. "How was I supposed to know who to trust? For all I knew, everyone in your government wanted her dead. So you kept her from me," Vela said, stepping closer. "You let me believe my daughter was dead while you played father." "I protected her," Jake said firmly. "That was my first priority. Not your feelings, not politics. Her safety. Do not lecture me about my daughter's safety," Vela said, and now her voice was cold as ice. "I am her mother. I know what is best for her. Do you?" Jake challenged. "Because from where I am standing, you did not even think about what she needs. You just want to take her back, Put her in a palace and expect her to be the same little girl she was before. But she is not that girl anymore. She has changed. She has grown. And if you cannot see that, then maybe you do not know what is best for her. Viola's hand moved so fast Jake barely saw it. Suddenly his shirt was in her grip and she had lifted him off the ground. Her face was inches from his and her eyes blazed with fury. "You dare to tell me I do not know my own child?" she hissed. Jake did not struggle, did not show fear. "Put me down and I will explain." For a moment he thought she would not. Then slowly Vela lowered him back to the ground. She stepped back, her hands clenched at her sides. "Explain," she said. Jake took a breath, trying to calm his racing heart. "Lyra has been through terrible trauma. She watched people she loved die. She was alone and terrified. When I found her, she could barely function. She would not eat. She would not sleep. She just held on to me and cried." Vela's anger flickered, replaced by pain. Jake continued. "It took weeks before she started to trust us. Months before she smiled again. She had nightmares every night. She would wake up screaming. I was there every time, holding her, telling her she was safe." "I should have been there," Vela whispered. "But you were not," Jake said, not unkindly. "And I was. I did not choose this. I did not plan to become her father. But she needed someone, and I was there. And somewhere along the way, she became my daughter. Not because I wanted to replace you, but because she needed a parent and I loved her enough to be that person." Vela turned away, her shoulders shaking. "She does not remember me. She looked at me like I was a stranger." "She was 6 years old when she was taken," Jake said gently, "and she has been through so much. But she does remember you in her own way. She knows she had a mother who loved her. But right now I am the parent she knows. I am the one she trusts." Vela spun back around. "So what do you suggest? That I just leave her with you? That I let a human raise the heir to the Zephani throne? I suggest you think about what she needs, not what you want," Jake said. "She needs time. She needs both of us to work together, not fight over her. She needs to feel safe and loved, not like she is being pulled in two directions." "I am her mother," Vela said. But her voice was less certain now. "Yes, you are," Jake agreed, "and I am her father. The question is, can we both be what she needs?" Viola stared at him for a long time. Then she said, "Tell me about her. Tell me who she is now." So Jake told her. He told her about Lyra's love for the garden, how she could spend hours taking care of plants. He told her about how smart she was, how fast she learned languages. He told her about the pirate attack, how Lyra had been brave and clever. He told her about the little things too, like how Lyra loved strawberries, how she hummed when she was happy, how she always wanted one more story before bed. Viola listened to everything, and with each detail her expression softened. She was learning about her daughter all over again. "She sounds wonderful," Vela said when Jake finished. "She is," Jake said. "She is the best thing that ever happened to me." Viola sat down heavily in her chair. "I do not know what to do. I want to take her home. I want to hold her and never let her go. But I can see that would hurt her. And I have hurt her enough by not being there to protect her." "You did not fail her," Jake said. "You nearly died trying to protect your family. You survived and you searched for her. You are a good mother." "Then why does she not want me?" Viola's voice broke on the last word. "She does want you," Jake said, sitting down across from her. "She just does not know how to want you yet. She is scared and confused. Give her time. Let her get to know you again. Do not try to force it." "How long?" Viola asked. "How long must I wait?" "As long as it takes," Jake said. "There is no quick fix for this. We have to think about Lyra, not about ourselves." Viola looked at him, really looked at him for the first time. "You love her. Truly love her." "More than anything in the universe," Jake said without hesitation. "And she loves you," Viola said. It was not a question. "Yes." Viola was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "I need to see her with you. I need to understand this bond between you." Jake nodded. He got up and opened the door. Lyra was sitting on the floor with General Theron, who was showing her a holographic star chart. When she saw Jake, she jumped up and ran to him. "Is everything okay?" she asked, looking worried. "Yes," Jake said, picking her up. Your mother and I had a good talk. Lyra looked over at Vela, who was standing in the doorway. The Queen's face was soft now, all the anger gone. Lyra, Viola said gently, would you like to spend some time with me? I want to learn about who you are now. Lyra looked uncertain. She glanced at Jake, seeking permission. It is okay, Jake said. I will be right here. I am not going anywhere. Promise? Lyra asked. I promise, Jake said. Slowly, carefully, Lyra climbed down from Jake's arms. She walked over to Viola, stopping a few feet away. What do you want to know? Lyra asked. Viola knelt down to be at Lyra's level. Everything. Tell me about your favorite things. I like plants, Lyra said. Amy taught me how to grow tomatoes, and I like when Father reads me stories before bed, and I like when Nina plays music. Your father reads to you? Vela asked, and her voice only shook a little on the word, father. Every night, Lyra said. Stories from Earth about brave people and adventures. What is your favorite story? Viola asked. Lyra thought about it. The one about the girl who was lost but found her way home. Father says it is like me. Viola's eyes filled with tears again. Yes, it is like you. They talked for a while longer. Jake watched from nearby, ready to step in if Lyra needed him. But slowly, something began to happen. Lyra started to relax around Vela. She even smiled once or twice. It was not perfect. It was not the instant reunion Viola had probably hoped for, but it was a start. Later, after Lyra had fallen asleep in Jake's quarters, worn out from all the emotions of the day, Jake and Vela talked again. Thank you, Vela said, for taking care of her, for loving her. You do not need to thank me, Jake said. Yes, I do, Vela said. You saved my daughter's life and gave her a reason to live again. I can never repay that debt. I do not want repayment, Jake said. I just want Lyra to be happy and safe. Vela nodded. Then we want the same thing. Captain Morrison, I have a proposal for you. What kind of proposal? Jake asked. Vela took a deep breath. I want you to come back to the Zephany homeworld with us. Not as a prisoner, but as Lyra's father. I want to make it official. I want the Empire to know that you are part of her family. Jake stared at her in shock. You want to make me officially her father? Yes, Vela said. It is clear that she needs you. And if I am honest with myself, I need your help. I do not know how to reach her anymore. But you do. Together we can give her what she needs, a mother and a father who both love her. Jake did not know what to say. He had expected a fight. He had expected Vela to try to take Lyra away, but instead she was offering to share her daughter with him. What about your people? Jake asked. Will they accept a human as part of the royal family? They will accept what I tell them to accept, Vela said firmly. I am the queen, and I am making you an honorary member of the royal family. No one will question it. This is not about me, Jake said. What about Lyra? What does she want? Then we ask her, Vela said. In the morning when she wakes up, we ask her together. And whatever she chooses, we both accept it. Jake nodded slowly. Agreed. We ask her together. That night, Jake sat next to Lyra's bed watching her sleep. Tomorrow would bring a new decision, a new path. But tonight she was still his daughter, safe and peaceful in sleep. And no matter what happened tomorrow, that would never change. Morning came too quickly. Jake had barely slept, his mind full of questions about what the day would bring. When Lyra woke up, she seemed calmer than she had been the night before. Good morning, Father, she said, rubbing her eyes. Good morning, Jake said with a smile. Did you sleep well? I dreamed about Mother, Lyra said. The old mother from before. I remember her a little bit more now. Jake's heart ached at her words. That is good. Do you want to see her this morning? Lyra nodded slowly. Yes, but you have to come with me. Always, Jake promised. They found Queen Vela in the ship's dining hall with General Theron. The queen had dark circles under her eyes, showing she had not slept much either. When she saw Lyra, her face lit up. Good morning, my little star, Vela said gently. Good morning, Lyra replied, holding tight to Jake's hand. They sat down together to eat breakfast. It was strange, Jake thought. This odd family sitting around a table on a human ship, but it also felt right somehow. After breakfast, Vela asked if they could talk in the conference room. The three of them sat down together with Lyra between her two parents. Lyra, Vela began carefully, your father and I have been talking. We want to ask you something important. Lyra looked between them, her golden eyes curious and a little worried. Jake spoke next. Your mother wants to take you back to your home world. You are a princess and you have a whole empire waiting for you, but she also understands that you have built a life here with me and the crew. So we want to ask you, Vela continued, what do you want? Do you want to go home to the Zafani world? Do you want to stay here with your father? We will accept whatever you choose. Lyra was quiet for a long time. Her small face was serious as she thought. Finally she said, Can I have both? Jake and Vela looked at each other in surprise. What do you mean? Vela asked. I want to know about being a princess, Lyra said slowly. I want to see my home and learn about my people. But I do not want to leave, father. Can I have both my mother and my father? Can I go back and forth? Vela's eyes filled with tears, but this time they were happy tears. Yes, she said. Yes, we can do that. If your father agrees. Jake felt his own eyes getting wet. I agree. Lyra, you can have both of us. You can learn about your heritage and still be part of my family. We will make it work. Lyra smiled a real full smile. Then she did something neither adult expected. She stood up, took both of their hands, and put them together. You have to promise not to fight, she said seriously. You have to work together. For me. Jake and Vela looked at each other, their hands touching. Then slowly they both nodded. We promise, they said together. Over the next 3 days, Queen Viola stayed aboard the Horizon's Edge. She spent time with Lyra, learning about her daughter's new life. Jake watched as the bond between mother and daughter slowly began to rebuild. Vela went to the hydroponics bay and watched Lyra work with the plants. Amy showed the Queen how Lyra had a natural talent for growing things. Viola listened with pride and amazement. On our homeworld we have great gardens, Vela told Lyra. You could have your own garden there as big as you want. Lyra's eyes got wide. Really? Really, Viola said with a smile. Lisa took Vela on a tour of the engine room, showing her the systems that Lyra had learned to help with. The Queen was impressed by how much her daughter had learned. She is very smart, Lisa said. She picks up technical things quickly. She always was clever, Vela said softly, even as a small child. Ben showed Vela all the medical records, the careful notes he had taken about Lyra's recovery from trauma. He explained the nightmares, the fear, and the slow healing process. Captain Morrison was with her every step of the way, Ben said. He never left her when she needed him. Viola read through the records, seeing in black and white what Jake had told her. Her daughter had suffered so much, and Jake had helped her heal. On the evening of the 3rd day, Viola asked Jake to walk with her through the ship. They talked as they walked, two parents discussing their shared child. I was wrong about humans, Vela admitted. I thought you were inferior, simple creatures. But you are not. You have shown me more compassion and wisdom than many of my own people. We are not so different, Jake said. We all want the same basic things. To protect the people we love. To make the world better. To find purpose. You have given me a great gift, Vela said. You have given me back my daughter. Not just her body, but her spirit. She is happy. She is healthy. She is whole. That is because of you. And you have given me a gift too, Jake said. You have accepted me as part of her life. You could have taken her away and forbidden me from seeing her, but you did not. You put her needs first. That takes strength. They stopped at a window that looked out at the stars. Both of them stared out at the endless expanse of space. I have a question, Vela said. Why? Why did you risk so much for an alien child you did not know? Jake thought about it. Because it was the right thing to do. Because she needed help and I could help her. And because when I looked into her eyes, I saw a person. Not an alien, not a princess, just a scared child who needed someone to care. How could I turn away from that? Viola nodded slowly. You are a good man, Jake Morrison. I am honored to call you family. And I am honored to be part of yours, Jake replied. The next morning it was time to make plans. They gathered in the conference room with General Theron and Jake's senior crew. Here's what I propose, Queen Vela said. Lyra will return with me to the Zephani homeworld. She needs to learn about her heritage, her people, and her duties as a princess. But Captain Morrison and his crew will come as well as honored guests and ambassadors. Ambassadors? Lisa asked. Yes, Vela said. This will be the first formal alliance between the Zephani Empire and humanity. Captain Morrison will be given a title and a place in the royal court. He will be recognized officially as Lyra's adopted father. General Theron stepped forward. My queen, the council may object. A human as part of the royal family is unprecedented. Then it will be a new precedent, Vila said firmly. I am the queen. My word is law, and my word is that Jake Morrison has earned his place through his actions and his love for my daughter. Anyone who objects can answer to me. Jake felt overwhelmed. Your Majesty, I am just a ship captain. I do not know anything about being part of a royal court. You will learn, Vila said, just as Lyra will learn about being a princess. You will both learn together. What about my crew? Jake asked. They will be honored as well, Vela said. They protected the heir to the throne. They will be given rewards and positions if they want them. Ben spoke up. I would like to stay with Lyra if that is acceptable. As her doctor, I know her medical history. Of course, Vila said. Any of the crew who wish to stay are welcome. Amy raised her hand shyly. Could I help with the gardens? If Lyra is going to have her own garden, she will need someone who knows earth plants. Vila smiled. Yes, you are all welcome in my empire. Over the next week, preparations were made. The Horizon's Edge would travel with the Zephani fleet back to the homeworld. Some crew members chose to stay. Others decided to return to human space after delivering them safely. Lisa, Ben, Amy, Chris, and Nina all chose to stay with Lyra and Jake. They had become a family too, and families stayed together. The journey to the Zephani homeworld took 2 weeks. During that time, Lyra continued to grow closer to her mother while keeping her strong bond with Jake. It was not always easy. There were moments of tension, times when Vila and Jake disagreed about what was best for Lyra. But they always talked it through, always compromised, always put Lyra first. When they finally arrived at the Zephani homeworld, Jake was amazed. The planet was beautiful, with blue oceans and silver cities that gleamed in the sunlight. Ships filled the space around it, and stations orbited like moons. It is beautiful, Lyra whispered, pressing her face to the window. It is your home, Vila said, standing next to her. Our home. They landed at the royal palace, a massive structure of silver and crystal that seemed to glow from within. Thousands of Zephani had gathered to see their queen return and to meet the lost princess. Jake felt nervous as they walked down the ramp. All these people were staring at them, at Lyra, at him. He was just a human. What was he doing here? Then he felt a small hand slip into his. Lyra was looking up at him with complete trust. It is okay, Father, she said. We are together. And just like that, Jake's nervousness disappeared. It did not matter where they were or who was watching. He was her father and she needed him. That was all that mattered. Queen Vela stood at the top of the ramp and raised her hand. The crowd went silent. My people, she said, her voice amplified so everyone could hear. I have returned, and I have brought with me the greatest treasure of our empire. My daughter, Princess Lyra, is alive. The crowd erupted in cheers. Lyra squeezed Jake's hand tighter. Vela continued. Princess Lyra survived because of the bravery and compassion of humans. Captain Jake Morrison found her when she was lost, protected her when she was in danger, and loved her when she had no one. Today I declare him an honorary member of the royal family. He is Lyra's father. Recognized by law and by love, he and his crew are heroes of the empire. More cheers. Jake felt stunned. He looked at Vila, who gave him a small nod. Together, Vila said, we will build a new future, a future where humans and Zephani work together, a future that began with the love between a father and daughter. The ceremony that followed was long and full of ritual Jake did not understand, but through it all, Lyra stayed by his side, and Vela stayed close to both of them. Afterwards, they were taken to their new quarters in the palace. Jake's rooms were next to Lyra's, and Vila's were on the other side. The three of them would live close together, a family. That night, Jake tucked Lyra into her new bed. It was much bigger and more grand than her bed on the ship, but she had insisted on bringing her stuffed animal and her favorite blanket from the Horizon's Edge. Father, are you happy here? Lyra asked. Jake thought about it. He was far from Earth, living in an alien palace, part of a royal family. It was not anything he had ever imagined for his life. But as he looked at Lyra's face, at her golden eyes looking at him with love, he knew the answer. "Yes," he said. "As long as I am with you, I am happy." "I am happy too," Lyra said. "I have my mother and my father. I have both my families." Jake kissed her forehead. "Sleep well, princess." "Sleep well, father." He started to leave, but Viola appeared in the doorway. She looked uncertain. "May I?" she asked. Jake nodded and stepped aside. Viola came in and sat on the other side of Lyra's bed. Together, the three of them sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Viola began to sing. It was a Zephany lullaby, something she had probably sung to Lyra years ago. Her voice was beautiful, haunting, and sweet. Lyra's eyes started to close, a smile on her face. When the song ended, Lyra was asleep. Jake and Viola looked at each other over their daughter's sleeping form. "Thank you," Viola whispered. "For everything." "Thank you," Jake replied. "For letting me be part of this." They left the room together, leaving the door open just a crack in case Lyra needed them. In the following months, a new routine developed. Lyra spent her mornings learning about Zephany history and culture with her mother and tutors. She spent her afternoons in the garden with Amy, growing plants from both Earth and the Zephany homeworld. And she spent her evenings with Jake, reading stories and talking about her day. She had dance lessons and music lessons. She learned about politics and diplomacy. She learned languages and mathematics. But she also learned to play games with Chris and to fix machines with Lisa. She learned to cook human food with Ben and to program computers with Nina. She was becoming a princess. But she was also staying herself. She was a bridge between two worlds, two species, two families. Queen Viola worked with Jake to expose the rest of the conspirators who had attacked her family. Together, they made sure that Lyra would be safe from those who had tried to harm her. The alliance between humans and Zephany grew stronger each day. Jake was given the title of Royal Guardian and Cultural Ambassador. His job was to help humans and Zephany understand each other. He was good at it, using his natural kindness and common sense to solve problems and build friendships. One evening, a year after their arrival on the Zephany homeworld, Jake stood in the royal garden. He watched as Lyra ran through the paths, laughing as she chased a small flying creature native to the planet. Viola stood next to him, also watching. "She is happy," Viola said. "Yes," Jake agreed. "I was wrong about many things," Viola said. "I thought the only way to love her was to keep her close, to control everything. But you taught me that love means letting her grow, supporting her choices, giving her space to become who she is meant to be." "You taught me things too," Jake said. "About duty and honor, about heritage and tradition. We both gave her different gifts. Together we gave her everything she needs." Lyra saw them watching and ran over. She grabbed both their hands, standing between them. "What are you two talking about?" she asked. "About how lucky we are," Viola said. "About how proud we are of you," Jake added. Lyra grinned. "I am lucky too. I have the best mother and the best father in the whole universe." She pulled them forward, leading them down the garden path, and as they walked together, the three of them, Jake thought about that moment when he had first found a broken ship and a scared child. He had made a promise that day, a promise to protect her. He had kept that promise, but he had gained so much more than he ever expected. He had gained a daughter, a family, and a purpose. Behind them, the sun was setting over the Zephany capital. Two ships flew overhead, one human and one Zephany, flying together in formation. A symbol of the new alliance, the new friendship between their peoples. And it had all started with a simple question spoken by a dying warrior. "Please protect the child." Jake had said yes. And in saying yes, he had changed the course of history. Not through war or conquest, not through technology or trade, but through the simplest and most powerful force in the universe: love. The story of how a human captain became the father of an alien princess spread across the galaxy. It became a legend, a tale told to children of both species. The tale of how love could bridge any divide, how family was not just blood but choice, and how sometimes the greatest heroes were not those who fought battles, but those who simply showed up when they were needed. And in a palace on a distant world, a little girl with silver skin and golden eyes slept peacefully each night, knowing she was loved by two parents who would do anything for her, a mother who was a queen, and a father who was a captain, united by their shared love for her. The alien queen had trembled and asked the man why her daughter called him father. And the answer was simple yet profound, because he had earned it, through patience and kindness, through sacrifice and love, because family was not about where you came from, but about who chose to stay. Because sometimes the greatest gift you could give someone was not riches or power, but simply being there when they needed you most. And in the end, that was what mattered. Not titles or species, not empires or ships, but love. Always love.